One quiet Wednesday evening, while she scrolled through her phone, my partner offhandedly told me I was expendable. It wasn't said in anger or as a start an argument. It landed like a careless remark, as if I were an old model someone had outgrown. The line was intentional. I felt it like a sting. I swallowed whatever response rose in my throat, offered a polite nod, and acted as if the words hadn't unsettled the life we'd built together. 10 years of marriage, a decade of compromise and effort to make sure she felt secure, now reduced to a throwaway comment. When we first met, she'd been struggling. I'd helped her clear debts, encouraged her ambitions, and provided the stability she'd lacked. And yet, suddenly I was disposable. That night, while she slept unaware of the decision forming in me, I resolved not to plead or argue. She didn't deserve that performance. Instead, I chose a quieter, harder route. Leave in a way that made my absence felt. For weeks, I kept up the appearance of a devoted husband, asking about her day, cooking the meals she loved, smiling in all the right places, even as I quietly untangled our shared life. The house had been mine before marriage. The cars were in my name. Our joint account largely reflected my income. I called financial institutions, consulted a lawyer, and methodically cut any legal and economic ties that might trap me later. There would be no surprises for me. The decisive moment came on a Saturday morning. She walked into the kitchen, confident as always, oblivious to the week I'd spent separating our affairs. I poured coffee and asked if she had plans. "Maybe I'll meet some friends," she said, voice distant. Then, with a half-smile that stung, she said, "You'll be fine, right? Lucky I stuck around this long." That was the last straw. I pushed a heavy envelope across the counter. Curiosity tightened her face as she opened it. Inside were finalized documents. The joint accounts emptied, her credit cards closed, the car title transferred, and a separation agreement waiting for her signature. "What is this?" she demanded, the edge in her voice sharpening. "Is this what you wanted?" I answered without fury, only calm. "Freedom," I said, "a chance to find your replacement." Her hands trembled while she read, the reality of what I'd done washing over her like an icy wave. She understood the legal language well enough to see that the safety net she had relied on had been removed. "You mean it?" she whispered, voice cracking. "You said I was replaceable," I replied, locking eyes with her. "Now's your opportunity to make that true." For a moment she couldn't find words. The weight of her own remark pressed down hard. She tried to claw back control. "You can't be ending our marriage over one comment," she said. "It wasn't one comment," I replied softly. "It was years of being made small." There were no raised voices, no dramatic scene, just a plain truth spoken into a heavy silence that felt heavier than any heated argument we'd had. Within days she left, with no home and no funds to maintain the lifestyle she'd grown used to. The friends who had circled around her during better times drifted away when comforts vanished. Reality hit swiftly and without mercy. At first her messages were sharp and angry. "You'll regret this." Then they softened. "Can we talk?" Eventually came longer texts, apologies, explanations about pressure and stress, accusations that I hadn't appreciated her. I didn't respond. Each note only confirmed who she had been and why I'd walked away. Months later, I saw her alone in a cafe, a small table in the corner, looking diminished. She waved me over with a tentative hand. The arrogance that had once defined her had been replaced by something like remorse or the sober understanding of loss. "I've been meaning to speak with you," she said quietly. "I was wrong. I thought you'd never go. I assumed you needed me more than I needed you." I watched her fidget with a chipped mug and then realized what my leaving had taught me. There was power in stepping out of a life that no longer honored you. "You assumed love was a guarantee," I answered, "that I'd remain no matter how you treated me." She looked up, eyes pleading. "Can we fix this?" she asked. "No," I said, plain and final. "Some things break in a way that can't be mended. You made sure of that." She nodded, trying to steady herself, and as I stood, I added one last thing. "Everyone is replaceable. You taught me that. I simply learned it applies to you too." I left without anger, without bitterness, only with a quiet, steady peace. The woman who had once dismissed me as something disposable had come to understand what it meant to be replaced, and there was no reversing that lesson.